Welcome to Crystal Talk with Mimi. I am often asked about Lemurian quartz, and there can be some misunderstanding as far as what makes a crystal a Lemurian quartz and what doesn't make it a Lemurian quartz. Lemurian quartz is simply clear quartz, but it is a special or a different variation of clear quartz. Now, before I get into the story of how they came to be, I first do want to mention that whether or not you believe this, will depend on if your belief system allows for the existence of advanced ancient civilizations like Atlantis or Lemuria. And if you don't go there, that's perfectly fine. You can still have an appreciation for the crystals. And if you do go there, great, because that will only deepen your appreciation for what these crystals have to offer. So the story goes that at some point, the Lemurians realized that their civilization was going to be coming to an end. And they did not want all of their knowledge and wisdom to just go poof and disappear. They wanted it to be accessible to others at whatever point in time it would be discovered. So what they did is they programmed their wisdom into the quartz crystals that they had. And then they implanted them into the earth. So this is why you will sometimes see them referred to as Lemurian seed crystals or Lemurian seed quartz, because the crystals are how the Lemurians seeded, pardon me, it's how they seeded their wisdom into the earth to be discovered by future civilizations. Okay, so that's the story behind them. But how can you identify a Lemurian quartz? Well, let me bring this beauty up. Do you see, it's kind of hard to pick up on the camera, but there are horizontal striations. So typically on a Lemurian, on three alternating sides, you will find the horizontal striations, and then that side's smooth, and then here we see the horizontal lines, and then smooth, and horizontal. This is another one that I have, slightly different shape, and the horizontal lines are actually a little more visible on this one. But you can see they're on alternating planes of the crystal. Now, here's the thing. All Lemurian crystals will have the horizontal lines or striations, but not all crystals that have the horizontal lines are Lemurians. So, for example, this little beauty, she has the horizontal lines, but she's not a Lemurian. It's a clear quartz. This is actually called lodolite quartz. It's clear quartz with inclusions. But that's an example of a clear quartz that has the horizontal lines, but it's not a Lemurian. So again, all Lemurians will have the horizontal lines. Some people refer to them as the barcode or a ladder, but not all crystals that have the horizontal lines are Lemurians. Back in the day when the Lemurian crystals were first being discovered, they tended to have a pinkish cast to them. And I'm not sure if you can see it in the video, but this one does have the pinkish cast. It's very, very pale. This one doesn't, or it's so pale I can't see it. This is an example of a Lemurian that is very pink, and this is actually a form that's referred to as Scarlet Temple Lemurian. Now, the reddish or pinkish tone that you see in this beauty is actually from hematite. So the hematite will actually bring a very grounding energy to the crystal, but kind of going off on a tangent there. And this very raw, very beautiful beauty is another example of a Scarlet Temple Lemurian. I do believe that this face here has been polished, but the rest of her has not. And the horizontal lines on this one are pretty faint. So that's basically the big difference between a Lemurian and other clear quartz. Now, originally it was said that the crystals were just singular. Like you can see that the termination point where it was separated from the matrix. They typically did not show up as a cluster of crystals. Like this is a cluster for those who are completely new to crystals. But in recent years, I have been seeing clusters referred to as Lemurian clusters. And who am I to tell anybody that they're wrong? So I guess it's changing. You know, things do change in the crystal world, just like all parts of the world. But getting, I don't want to go off on too much of a tangent there, but getting into the energy of a Lemurian, they do hold the ancient knowledge of the Lemurian civilization, and it is said that we are drawn to the crystals that hold information for us. And the best way to access that information is to sit with your crystal and rub your thumb over the horizontal striations as you meditate. And rubbing your thumb over the horizontal lines, for lack of a better way of putting it, opens up the crystal. It opens it up to you. It opens you up to it, so that whatever information or wisdom the crystal has to share with you can be shared with you. And that is why, going to go off on a little Mimi rant. That is why I do not understand people who completely tumble or polish Lemurians to the point where the horizontal striations are obliterated. Like completely obliterated. I understand that some people love smooth, polished, tumbled stones, but when one of the hallmarks of a particular type of crystal is something like the horizontal striations that has a very physical feel to it, why would you want to remove that? But again, that's just me. I have seen some very beautifully polished Lemurians where the horizontal striations were left intact, and I applaud that, and I really appreciate that. I've also seen Lemurian spheres, which I do not get, because again, the crystal has been cut and polished into a round shape. No horizontal striations to be found. Yes, it still holds the energy, but maybe I'm just a little too old school when it comes to Lemurians. Maybe I'm not willing to grow with the changes. But there are so many other crystals that can be polished and cut into different shapes. Leave the Lemurians alone, please. So anyway, that's just a quick little chat on what makes a Lemurian crystal a Lemurian and how they can be identified. There are other variations that have become available in just the last couple of years alone. I won't get into those in this video because I want to try to keep this video under 10 minutes. But please let me know any questions you have. I would love to hear from you, and I will answer any questions or share your comments with me.